Hey, I'm Tom. That over there's Mike. And let us tell you something, brother. This is a brief history of Hulk Hogan's final days in WCW. Our story starts in February of 2000. Vince Russo, head writer, had just been sent home from World Championship Wrestling for writing shows that were not garnering the ratings that Time Warner executives were hoping for, and they decided to bring Hulk Hogan back to television. Hogan hadn't been around since Halloween Havoc back in October, one of Russo's first big angles in the company, where Hogan laid down for Sting and gave him the World Heavyweight title, and then walked out. It was supposed to be explained later on. It was not, because Russo wasn't around long enough to blow off the storyline. Hogan decided that his return to the company needed to be in the Nassau Coliseum Valentine's Day evening Nitro. Nassau's in New York. Hulkamania was born in New York. And Hogan had kind of become like a punchline in wrestling. He was afraid that if he would have come out in most other towns, he would get booed out of the building, whereas he could count on New York to have his back. But also February 14th, there was no Monday Night Raw to run against Nitro. And thus, when he would appear for his match, there would be an artificial ratings boost. Biggest Nitro rating in months, just because it was on the air and the other wrestling wasn't. His plan would have worked great, except they got impatient and brought him back for a random-ass promo on Thunder like a week and a half before. Like, he had nothing to say. He came out and just complained about young wrestlers. How lazy the young guys are, and how they talk too much, and how he's coming back to save the business. And he's going on about how he agrees with Ric Flair, even though Ric Flair's his opponent for his big comeback match, about how much the young guys suck. It's one of the more counterproductive promos you'll ever see on a wrestling show. But I can't blame him because they didn't give him anything to say. Just, hey, Terry, go fill 10 minutes. Hogan returns at Nitro, and the story was every mention of him throughout the show got big boos. But in typical Hulk Hogan fashion, when he walks out the curtain, the place goes nuts. Because for all of his negatives, and he has so many, he had some sort of weird magnetism that made large groups of people want to cheer him. While this is all going on, Lex Luger is expressing his cast fetish freely. I did look it up. There are multiple Reddit posts. I think there's a DeviantArt page for it, for people who are sexually aroused by plaster casts. Luger's going around breaking everyone's arms, and that's just a step too far for the Hulkster, because if Jimmy Hart's arm is broken, he can't be making phone calls to get Hulk in the gym when he's traveling throughout the country, brother. I just realized I've been dead naming Lex Luger the entire time. He was no longer Lex Luger at this point, by the way. He was first name Total, last name Package. Total Package was his name. He was one half of Team Package with Ric Flair, who did not get his name in the team name. 94-time World Heavyweight Champion, was the junior member of Team Package. Maybe he just thought it was like a wiener thing. Regardless, Luger's going around breaking arms, and Hogan does not like this very much. And he's going to defend the downtrodden. And by downtrodden, I mean Brian Knobbs and Jimmy Hart. And Hogan proceeds to beat up Team Package for like a month straight. Go to Super Brawl 2000. Hogan beats Luger there, gets his revenge. Team Package actually do get one up on him inside of a steel cage on Nitro soon thereafter, which leads to the Yappapi strap match at Uncensored. Now, believe it or not, unlike what you pranksters on the internet probably think, there is an actual Yappapi tribe. Their skills include hunting, gathering, karaoke, and applying sunscreen to their daughter's butt cheeks. Despite this, Hulk Hogan wins the Yappapi strap match at Uncensored against Ric Flair, despite the fact that he didn't show up for most of the build-up to Uncensored. It was spring break, March 2000. As he would say, all those teeny-weeny yellow polka dot bikinis on Brooke Teeny. How did we not see this coming with him? But the next night, Hulk Hogan, as he's ought to do, decided to cosplay his own past. He's in a tag match with Sid Vicious, the World Heavyweight Champion, against Scott Steiner and Jeff Jarrett, NWO 2000, who unfortunately were not on Double Dare 2000, though Big Vito and Hacksaw Jim Duggan were. Sid gets jealous of Hulk Hogan because he's so tan and cool and tall and beats up all the bad guys and kisses all the girls, you know, all those Hulk Hogan things. And Sid betrays Hulk Hogan much like he did at Royal Rumble 92, only this time he pins Hulk Hogan, who was his tag team partner, in a tag team match against two other people, an entirely different team. You're in a tag team match. Here's what you do. You sneak up behind your own partner and you pin them. The other guys are going to try to fight you. Your partner's not going to fight you back. You pin them 1, 2, 3. Referee counts. You win. Who cares about your partner or the other team? You win. That's a life hack. So it looks like we're heading towards Sid versus Hogan for the world title at Spring Stampede in April. The next week on Nitro Spring Break, Sid Vicious puts out a $500,000 bounty on Hulk Hogan's head. But unlike most bounties, Hogan uses this to save a life. As the wall was up on top of a building, and Hulk Hogan sees him from hundreds of yards away. He looks up and he says, "Hey, I wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend." And he offers him a fight for $500,000. And he saves the wall's life. Or at least I think that was what was happening. The match itself is interesting. Because for like this 2-week period, Hogan decides he wants to elevate some young guys. He decides that Vampiro is his best friend, which is a strange choice for a number 2 babyface, even though that young guy never learned how to bump. I'm serious, look it up. What I think happened there, this is purely speculation, is that Hulk Hogan's arbiter of everything that's cool, his son Nick, probably saw Vampiro with his dreadlocks and his face paint, and he goes, "That guy's pretty cool. He can be your goth Brutus." Hogan's like, "Goth Brutus. I like that." But not only that, Hulk Hogan actually does a hell of a job of trying to elevate the wall in this match. In a rare instance, Hulk Hogan let the wall no-sell the leg drop. Not just kick out of it, the wall just stood up from the big boot and the leg drop and kept pounding on Hulk. And they didn't beat him. It was a no contest. So clearly Hulk liked him, thought he can make money with him, which is interesting because Wall wasn't that much bigger than Hogan. He kind of looked like if Dustin Rhodes was a substitute teacher, quite frankly. Anyway, this is all for naught because that week they fired Kevin Sullivan as head booker and they bring back Vince Russo with Eric Bischoff. And they're going to change things up. How are they going to work together? Oh no, maybe this company will die. So begins the New Blood versus Millionaires Club feud, where all the young guys that Hulk Hogan had been complaining about are on Team Russo and Team Bischoff. And all the old guys that were making millions of dollars are with Hulk Hogan. Wrestling fans love contract talk on television. And they start playing off of something that Hulk Hogan had said about a month ago on the Bubba the Love Sponge show. You know Bubba the Love Sponge, national radio show host, best friend, and the #1 Hulk Hogan archivist in the world. Hulk Hogan calls into the Bubba the Love Sponge show, and he decided that Billy Kidman was going to be his pew-pew target of rage. He makes all these comments about how, like, Billy Kidman can't draw, and he should be wrestling in flea markets and all this stuff. Comments that don't really escape the internet, you know? There were, like, a couple 100,000 people on the internet at this point, and, like, 5 million people watching wrestling on television. And WCW decided to focus on those people on the internet by having Billy Kidman come out on television and complain because Hulk Hogan buried him on the Bubba the Love Sponge radio show. And that's going to be the first big feud of the Russo-Bischoff era, is Billy Kidman versus Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan comes out and refers to Billy Kidman as, quote, P-whipped. Pussy, banned on both Turner Network Television and WAMBC. Kidman and Hogan get into a fight. Eric Bischoff comes out and he's like, "Yeah, Terry, I love you." And then he hits Hulk Hogan in the head with the chair and is like, "Actually, I don't like you." And then Billy Kidman pins Hulk Hogan. And then Eric Bischoff gives Hulk Hogan a Hummer. Well, he, like, rams him with it, you know, like. Get a shot of Hogan blading as Tony Schiavone yells out, "And he cut his forehead!" I love live television. Hulk Hogan is fine by the pay-per-view. It's up and walking, ready to kick some ass. Because from the wreckage, from the ashes of Hulk Hogan, comes a new hero to save us. FUMB Terry Bollea. And he makes sure to let us know this is Terry Bollea. Terry Gene Bollea. Red and yellow's gone. He got a denim vest and some jeans. He borrowed a headband from one of the 3 ninjas, probably Tum Tum. That's who I would have gotten mine from. I love Tum Tum. Because Rocky loves Emily and Colt's just an asshole. On the back of that vest, it says FUMB. Now, for years, it's been speculated that FUMB might stand for Fuck You New Blood. Or, as Scott Hudson once said on commentary, First Utica National Bank. But no, I called Gene Okerlund on the WCW hotline, and he claimed that it stood for Fun Uncle of Nude Baldy. As you all know, Hulk Hogan is the uncle of the 5-star hero Horus Boulder. He did not have hair on his head, but what you do not know is that Horus had to be paid by WCW to keep his pants on. Not only can you not say pussy on Nitro, but you couldn't show wiener. You couldn't show balls. Horus goes for a pin, he'll have his butthole out. Can't do that. So they had to pay him an extra $50,000 a year to wear those tight jeans. We'll get to Horus in a second. He joins the fun, but he's got to put on some pants first. Hogan comes out the night after Spring Stampede. Cops let him into the building despite having a restraining order against him, which doesn't really help their reputation at all. And then after his promo, Hulk Hogan puts Billy Kidman in a dumpster with graffiti on it. Clearly done by somebody with a coffee problem, because it just says caffeine rush on it. And Hulk Hogan gives Billy Kidman a Hummer. A dumpster Hummer. How gross. Next week, it's Hogan against Billy Kidman and his new big friend, Mike Awesome, in a handicap match. Let me clear up something. So, Mike Awesome is the cousin of known nudist Horus Boulder. Mike Awesome is not the nephew of Hulk Hogan. Because, see, the Mike Awesome side of the family tree has no connection to the Bollea side. He is an Alfonso. He is connected through the father's side, but he is not connected through the brother side to Hulk Hogan. But he's still like a Nepo mullet. This is notable because Hulk Hogan decides he's going to start taking table bumps to like impress 12-year-olds on the internet. Takes a power bomb through a table from Mike Awesome, and then he takes a splash through the table from Billy Kidman. And you know what happened? A bunch of us losers on the internet were like, that was cool. Maybe he's extreme now, with an X. Around this time, there's the famous New York Rules episode of Thunder, which I love. It's one of my favorite TV shows ever. For the night, the referees get sent home. Because in New York, when we have a fight on the street, and by we, I mean not me, we don't have referees. We count our own pins. You know, all those fights on World Star Hip Hop, where the guy gets knocked out and then the guy jumps on top of him and goes 1, 2, 3 on the concrete. Hulk Hogan has a match that night with Scott Steiner, which could have been a money-drawing match, you know, if they had a storyline to build it up. Steiner beat a bunch of dudes to get to Hulk Hogan as the babyface hero. But instead, they have like a 3-minute match with no referee on Thunder, where for some reason, Hugh Morris is just in the ring the whole time. Get this, you guys. In a New York Rules match with no referee, they had a no contest. That means that Hulk Hogan and Scott Steiner came to an agreement. In kayfabe, in canon, the two of them exchanged a look and were like, we got to throw that out as co-referees of the match. They finally get Horus's pants on. That next week on Nitro, he gets punished for being a Hogan by having a tables match against the wall. Uncle Hulk saves him, thanks him for finally getting some clothes on. But because Hulk Hogan was a good uncle to his au naturel nephew, he gets another Mike Awesome powerbomb through a table for his troubles. I have to think there was somebody going on like the RSPW forum going, man, Hulk Hogan should be ECW champion. Extreme Terry Bollea against New Jack. Get to Slamboree. It's Hogan versus Kidman. Eric Bischoff's a special referee. Cards are supposed to be all folded and decked and stacked in the favor of Billy Kidman. But Horus Hogan comes out. He's got his belt on tight because they're afraid he might pull his penis out on live pay-per-view. Forces Eric Bischoff to count his uncle for the win. The next night, the Filthy Animals kidnap Hulk Hogan. I don't know why. They just did it. But he escaped and nothing really came from it. They just thought it'd be cool to shove Hulk Hogan in a car trunk. Quite frankly, I've had that thought many a time. On Thunder, the Filthy Animals, because they were mad that Hulk Hogan escaped from their car trunk, defeated Horus Hogan. Horus gets fired from WCW. For some reason, Sid Vicious returns to join the New Blood for a night. Wearing a sweet-ass shirt, Hulk Hogan saves Horus from him, and then is forced to wrestle Horus in a 3-way match with Kidman, because Horus was told, hey, you have to be cool with the New Blood, or you don't get your job back. Horus is like, I don't want to be in the New Blood. His shirt says FUMB, and I don't know that his shirt's about me. I think maybe it says fuck you, New Blood. He's a fun uncle. I don't know. I'm the NB. But he does end up joining the New Blood at the end of the match, because Torrie Wilson comes out, and apparently in the subtext, we are led to believe that Horus Hogan stole the P from Billy Kidman, and he and Torrie got together and did some of this. He's kind of with the New Blood, but it's just he's fucking a lot. But now Kidman and Horus are mad at each other because Kidman's mad that Horus is doing butt stuff with his girl. So they're mad at each other even though they're on the same team. But also around this time, Hogan kind of gets his. There's a match where Hulk Hogan ends up with Tori Wilson in his arms, and he kisses her passionately. Tori seems to like the flavor of Florida barbecue because she, kind of comes in her pants, to put it crudely. Down on the ground wow, I am so aroused by FUMB Terry Bollea. Apparently, the idea was that Hulk Hogan would have kissed her so well, he would have Frenched her mouth so well, that she was going to end up as Hulk Hogan's new girlfriend, and they would be on-screen fuck buddies. And this is how I know that FUMB is not fuck you new blood, because the week after Horus turns on his uncle, Hulk gets rid of the FUMB vest. He is no longer the fun uncle of a naked baldy. No. Now, he's ready to drop some pythons or whatever the fuck he said. The next week, he has to fight his nephew in a caged heat match, which is a giant cell with a roof on it. It's hot inside, almost hellish, caged heat. But he has to go to a dark place to fight Horus. And he can't be FUNB because the naked baldy is the one he's going to be fighting. He can't be that guy's fun uncle. No, he rejoins the NWO. He's the one-man New World Order. And he beats up his nephew, his nude baldy nephew, inside of caged heat. This all leads to the Great American Bash. It's Billy Kidman versus Hulk Hogan. If Hogan loses, he has to retire. Hogan wins, he gets a title match at Bash at the Beach the next month. Hogan wins when that naked baldy Horus rejoins his fun uncle, comes back into the family. He has had enough sex because apparently he said, hey, if you team back up with me, I'll let you run naked all over the house. I'll tell Brooke Taney to cover her eyes. Nasty Nick, he'll learn some stuff from you. But Tori also betrayed Kidman because I think she was de-whipped by Horus. De-whipped. As in dick. Hogan's title match actually ends up being the next night on Nitro against Jeff Jarrett. It ends in a DQ. Hogan does win, but it's due to the fact that Evil Goldberg has hit the ring and jackhammered him through a table. Vince McMahon could not stop that from happening. But who is to save Hulk Hogan? But the guy that was coming for him 3 years earlier, Booker T. Finally, he made it to Hulk Hogan. That's all he wanted to do, was to stop Goldberg from beating him up. He just used the wrong words. And then Hulk Hogan disappears from television for a month. Because there's some weird stuff going on. Hogan's calling into Bubba the Love Sponge every day. Listen, brother, me and Bischoff got this thing going on. Because Bischoff disappears from TV as well. And they're spreading all these stories that they're going to do this interpromotional thing where Russo's going to have a WCW and Bischoff's going to have a WCW. And Bischoff's WCW is going to be on Fox. On network television. All the old guys are going to be on WCW on Fox. And Russo's ruining his WCW with all the young guys on TNT and TBS. Apparently they worked themselves into a shoot because Hogan was supposed to come back the week before the Bash at the Beach. He didn't like the fact that Jeff Jarrett was going to lay him out in that angle too. So he just didn't show up. And because this is WCW and not a real company, they were like, cool, dude. The newsletters are chattering that Hogan and Bischoff are telling people they're going to have this new show. Hogan's even telling people that his contract is up, and they're asking him to take a pay cut, even though one look at any of his contracts and you would see he still had, I think 6 pay-per-view dates left. And everybody in the industry knew it. Hulk was just talking. Regardless, Bash at the Beach happens. There's a Dark Side of the Ring episode about it. Jeff Jarrett lays down as planned. Hulk Hogan puts his foot on him as planned. Hulk Hogan leaves the building with the belt as planned. And then Vince Russo calls him bald. And supposedly that caused a lawsuit. Here's why I call bullshit on that. Going back to that Billy Kidman promo on the April 10th Nitro, he says about Hulk Hogan, quote, "Is your ego as big as your bald spot?" Which is not a whole lot worse than calling him a bald piece of shit or son of a bitch or whatever Vince Russo called him that night when he was a Giants fan. I think everyone just kind of got worked into a shooted into a work. Hogan didn't want to be in WCW anymore, so it was easier to just sue his way out. Anyway, that's how the Hulk Hogan story ends. He spends the rest of the company's time continually saying he's going to be able to get out. He's going to have a show on Fox. That show on Fox does not happen. Both because Hulk Hogan is still under contract to World Championship Wrestling and because wrestling is on a downturn and Fox didn't actually want wrestling. They were just the station that everybody used when they wanted to work Wade Keller or Dave Meltzer into thinking that they had a TV deal. I see you, Paul Heyman. I see you, and I know you. And then WCW dies. And that's it. So if you like the video, please make sure, click the thumbs up, subscribe, click the little bell right next to it, little ding-dong bell right there. Make sure that you see every video of mine that comes up right when it comes out. Leave a comment, check out my live stream Sundays and Tuesdays, and make sure to become a member of the channel, much like these lovely people you're seeing here. They are so great. They gave me money to do this. So again, my name's Tom. That over there's Mike. And yeah, it did come crashing down. How'd you figure it out?